All right, Amanda. So welcome to the journey to. And I wanted to talk to you about your journey to finding your person. And it's funny because I was gonna call it something completely different, but it's our secret that I know a little bit already. And so I wanted to talk to you about that and what that looks like for people, like myself who haven't found my person. They
Yeah.
haven't found me. I don't know if
They're
that
out
makes
there. They're out there.
I know, Amanda, I know, but everybody's not as lucky as you right now. But first of all, I need to tell everybody that Amanda is my friend that I have never met before. And she's like one of my biggest supporters, and she encourages me so much all the time. So I need everyone to know that. And so I'm really thankful for you and for doing this with me.
Yes, ma'am, of course. And you're welcome.
Thank you. So let's start with your person. Y'all had a video one time and you were kind of talking. I'm like, they're like super cute. So I just want to know like the background of how you all found each other, and because you're recently married, which I did
Yes.
not say. So tell us a little bit about that.
So we have been great, if not best friends, for almost 10 years. And we had a lot of like mutual friends and things like that. And so we met through them. And one day he had like a brace on his wrist, and I asked him, I was like, well, what have you found anything out about that? What's going on? And he said, well, I found out that I have psoriatic arthritis. And I said, oh, wow, really? Like, I have rheumatoid arthritis. They're very similar. Like, I know who that is. I was like, who's your doctor? And he told me, and I said, well, that's the PA for the doctor I see. And so that was one of my first friends that I had found that I could relate to, because at the time, um, it's becoming a little more common to hear like people speak out about it. But for the longest time, autoimmune diseases, people didn't talk about them. They didn't mention it. It was something that they were very afraid of coming to light, because what about your job, or what about the way people perceive you, or what about the ones who just sit there and say, oh, you're faking it.
Mm.
And I only wish that we were faking it most days. So at that time, the only other person I had ever talked to was my friend in Pennsylvania that I'm really great friends with, but have never met. And she had RA. And so, I had become friends with her. So from there, we just became really close. And anytime you were looking for one, you could kind of find the other one. And he actually asked me to just go on a date at least 3 times. And I said no every time until one day, like, we even had a sit down discussion about why I would not go on a date with him. Not 2 days, just a single date.
Just one.
Just one. I just want one. And he said that so many times. He's like, I just wanted one. She shot me down every time. And so finally one day I said, okay, one date. And one date turned into many dates. And we have been basically inseparable since then. We were already inseparable, but we really are now. I could probably count how many times we have been apart in all the years that we dated, although we don't truly know how many years that was. I know that we were engaged for a little over a year before we got married. But that's all.
That's important.
No, that's all we've got.
Or if that can go, but that's
Yeah.
important. No, like, so I always find it interesting when people talk about their person. It's almost similar to what you just described, right? So like it's like, no, I don't want to date them or whatever, or you have this commonality
Yeah.
with each other. And I want to talk about like something else that people don't know that you all don't have in common is that he's African American.
Yes.
And what I know already, but I want you to tell about that, because right now we're in such a heightened climate about who should date who and what people look like and the skin color of your skin and all of these things. But your story is so cool. Like, I want you to tell that part about that.
So we, in order to have the person that we originally wanted to do the marriage ceremony do it, we had to go through a marriage counseling. And so, which he didn't end up being the one who initiated our ceremony anyway. He had to be out of town, so we had to change it. But we had to do a marriage counseling, and he was sitting there and he looked at us and he said something about being biracial. And we looked at each other and we said, we are? Oh, yeah. It had never occurred to either one of us that we were a biracial couple, or even that there was a difference in color. And I wondered several times, since then, like, was there ever a time that somebody looked at me different or looked at him different or whatever? And I have no idea. And quite honestly, I don't care. Because to me, like, at the end of the day, we're all the same. It's what's in your heart and how you're raised, your morals, your values. We were both raised in a very similar background with very similar parents and very similar upbringings. And so, I think those things matter. I personally have always said, like, if your morals and values are the same, every race is raised differently. Right. That is just a reality. It just is, but do you have morals and values? Are they the same? Do your beliefs line up? Our religious beliefs and our faithful beliefs, they did line up and they make sense together. I'm a firm believer in, if those core things are not the same, you're not going to get along. You're not going to have just an easy relationship, and no relationship is easy by any means, but you're going to argue or disagree on the big things. So from my standpoint, I always thought, okay, if found somebody, which for the longest time, I didn't date him because I didn't want him to be subject to, like, my RA and the things that go along with it and stuff like that. And that was the main reason I always told him no, because there's things that change at a drop of a hat. Like, maybe we have dinner plans tonight and I come home from work, or maybe I just wake up that day and don't even go to work because I feel really, really terrible having to tell him, hey, we can't do dinner tonight because I don't feel good. Things like that. But that's back down to your core things. Like, do you mesh? Do you get along? Do you believe the same things? And I think once that happens, who cares what actual color you are? We're all the same.
And did you all have, okay, so, like, once you realize, like, this is my person, oh, obviously we're biracial, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, did you all talk about what that looks like in any situation, as far as, like, having kids and like you said, going out and seeing somebody maybe look at you all differently? Like, do you all have that conversation? Because I know obviously you're going to have conversations about money or business and stuff like that, but that's a real thing. And so did you have that type of conversation? You're just like, I'm going to let it happen when it happens, or if it happens?
Kind of, because to us, it's not important.
Yeah.
So, we always have the important conversations, or the important things. And so, from our standpoint, we don't really want like biological kids. So if we did, we would adopt. Right. And so then who knows what you're bringing? I mean, that's a whole nother dynamic. Like, right. So to us, it was like, that doesn't matter.
Right. No, I definitely get that. And that brings me to, I was looking at something today on Instagram or Facebook, one of them, and it was talking about like the importance of the wife or the fiance wanting to have a huge wedding and the husband not wanting to. And people had so many opinions. And obviously that person felt they found their person, but I guess the opinions of other people is what drives me um to think twice about a lot of things, whether it be because, well, I was going to say, remember I told you, but I have talked to you about the fact that I wanted to date outside of my race. It has nothing to do with color necessarily. It's not about a Black man treats you like this and all this other stuff. It's just like, I like doing different things. And if that particular person has that particular thing that I like doing, then that's where I'm going to lean towards.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So like, what are the important things when you find someone that you feel is your person? What are some important things that, like, what's important to me is not going to be important to you, but overall, what do you think are some important things that you need to really get down to before you say, we're going to walk down the aisle? Like, I love you, but maybe we shouldn't get married.
Right. You know, I think there's, especially like in today's age, people are so quick to jump to marriage. Mm-hmm. And I've seen so many people that they date a month or two and it's like, okay, we're getting married, and they get married within 6 months. To me, you don't know a person. You don't know all the ins and outs of that person. And you find that over the years of knowing somebody, you get to know them more and more and more. And so, you always want to start with those core beliefs and those core morals and values, because if those don't line up, then most everything else is not going to line up either. Right. But, always like, don't rush it. Kind of be happy in the moment that you're in. And then to me, one big thing that I feel like is more common now than it's ever been is the sexualization of everything. And pulling that out of the relationship. Do you like the person for who they are? Because once you add that element, it's different. It complicates. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going off of like a right now, right here feeling, instead of maybe seeing the person for who they are and what they are, because you're giving into a feeling, a feel good. And so this person comes along and they make you feel good, but are they really making you feel good? Like, are they pouring into your love bucket or your love cup? Are they doing the things that keep your cup full? Or are they simply making you happy in the right here and the right now? Right. And if they're not, then that's time to let that person go. It's time to, okay, this is maybe not my person. It was a feel good thing. It was this was a right here, right now. This felt great, but it's not something permanent. And I think that's where all too often people complicate things. And then later on, that's where we see more divorces happen and people that stay together or cheat on their spouse because they're not happy. They never were. And so they're looking for the next best thing to replace that feel good that they initially started that relationship with, without realizing they're never going to fulfill that feel good, because they're just jumping from one thing to another to another. And they've complicated so much without ever getting to know a person and find out, what makes that person tick? What is their favorite thing to do after a long work day? Where is their favorite place to actually go and visit? What is their favorite restaurant? What is their favorite color of jewelry? I mean, you don't know those things at like 6 months in. You know, do they like the toilet seat up or down?
Right.
Which way do they like the toilet paper to be put on?
Okay, because it may sounds very small, but those are things that like your triggers. It's like, because I've dated people and it's like that triggered me and I hate it. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Or when you had a cup of coffee, did you rinse it out or did you just put it on the sink?
yes, like those things definitely matter. And it's just as important as, are we gonna raise our kids in uh downtown or in the country, whatever that looks like. All of the
She came to join the party too.
right. All of those things are equally as important, and I really appreciate that. When it's so, is he quiet? Because it looks like he's like the quiet one, and you're
Oh
like
yeah.
the laid back. I mean, like the more the up in the front person. And does that like cause any, or you just kind of balance each other out?
We very much balance each other out, and we've said so many times, like, he's my other half.
Mm.
He's like, I'm the um I'm not nearly as laid back. Like, I've got a million things going on in my brain all at one time, and we're doing this and we're doing that and we're doing something else, and we got to get this done, and we got to get that done, and like, and he's like, all right, you got to slow down and we got to stop and we got to calm down, breathe. And so, you know, he does balance me out because he makes sure that, like, I take time to rest, or I take time to relax, or just have some calm time. And, you know, we're polar opposites, and we are like that on almost everything. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, we agree on the big things.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always agreed on the big things, but like all the little things, like, today, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna do this and this and this and this and this. And he's like, I'm gonna sit on the couch and watch TV.
I know that's right. That would be more or less me. You would be me, because I have 100 different things going on at one time. And right now it's just my son, like, Mom, focus. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I thought I was. But those are things that, and that's the reason why I wanted to talk to you too, is because, like, to have somebody that I haven't obviously known you forever or all of this time while you all were dating, but just to see you all online doing that video, I could tell that what you just said, but it didn't seem awkward or weird or anything like that. It felt like a balance.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. That's what I think, that a lot of people, that when finding their person, they think that it has to be, we agree on everything, we're exactly the same, or we have the same ambitions right at this very moment. But having that person to just be like, calm down, chill, you good, we'll figure it out, is
right.
Yeah, that's something that I definitely need in my life.
Yes.
But
like, you need to calm down.
I know,
okay.
right? I don't. My mind is like this. Like, when we get off of here, I'm going to be thinking of something else that I don't have to do, but probably am going to do. But that's nice to have. So I guess my last thing is, like, now that you all are married, which again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Has anything, and it hasn't been it's been how long has it been since you've been married?
2 months.
2 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still like the honeymoon phase, or whatever they want to call it. But did you see, like, because people say now, once you put it on paper, you know, this whole thing that marriage is just paper, that things change. Did you feel that, or like, is it, no, we're still the same exact people we were 2 months ago, and we prepared for this?
For us, we're still exactly the same. Everybody told us that, and they kept saying it, and they kept saying it, and they kept saying it. Like, when you guys actually, Kitty left her fur everywhere. When you guys get married, everything will change. And we looked at each other so many times, and we're like, what? I don't know what's going to actually change.
Right.
You know, we have operated as one unit since. So he also is diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and he was diagnosed in 2019. And so from that moment, we operated as one. Um, he came to where I was living so that I could help him like get up and down and walk. And I mean, at the time he was walking some with a walker, some just with assistance. And so we started that and we just never stopped. Everything was very, very together. And so there's not really anything that's changed. The biggest thing is like I'll run around the house, I'll show him my ring, and I'll go, "You're my husband."
That's cute.
Or he'll look at me and he'll go, "You're my wife."
Oh, listen, that is so cute and so like authentic to who you all are as people, I would think. Yeah. And I'm glad I was able to have this conversation with you. See, a lot of people think that like I'm doing this for everybody else, but I do these for myself too, because I definitely need it, because there are certain things that all these rules about finding your person and what that looks like. And I just want to see some rule breakers. It's like, no, that's not what happened. We are doing a good job, and this is how we did it. And I think also to help some other people. Yeah. So for real, this is my last question. I know you said that you need to wait and not be months in doing all the stuff that you do to try to make yourself feel loved. What is your best advice for, like, do you think you should be a whole person? Not really necessarily looking for your person and they're going to come? Do you think it's more of a religious thing or finding or whatever that looks like? Like, what is your, I guess, a blanket general advice for what that looks like?
I don't think that you have to be necessarily a whole person. Like, I think we're all broken to some extent. We all have skeletons in our closet. We all have things that get us. And I mean, I still do to this day, and they're not going to go away. There's something that's always there. So I don't think that when people seem to think, oh, well, I have to be perfect before I can search for my person. I don't think that that's how it should be, because you're never going to be perfect, and you're still always going to have things that bother you, that issues you have. So, accepting that and knowing that, and then presenting yourself as you are and being authentic to yourself, without trying to be something you're not. And also not searching so hard. I think now more than ever, it's so easy to like fall in the trap of, I want to date somebody and I want to date them right now. So you've got Tinder, you've got the Match thing, you've got this, I don't know, the little swipey things, like, I don't know. So, I see people always on there and they're like swiping and they're doing all this stuff, and that's awesome. But yeah, that might be great for a single date, but like, you're not putting yourself out there to meet anyone. You're trying to find the quickest, fastest thing you can to find a human.
Yes, that is true.
And then not even, and I don't say the love of your life, you're simply trying to find another human being. Yes. And you're not looking like you don't know anything about that person at the time. Yeah, fine. Okay, you start with like going for coffee or going for a date or going for dinner or movie, or, and getting to know them is one thing. But too often they like just jump in like, I've got to find a person. Like, I'm never going to be whole. I'm never going to have the rest of my life figured out if I don't find someone. And you will. It's just so important to just relax and be you, and stop searching so hard, because those people come, and sometimes they're put in our path at the very moment that we weren't expecting them. We never know the reason why. But there's always a reason as to why they're put there. And so it's trusting that, you'll find what you're looking for, And that's not always exactly what we think it should be.
Mm.
We probably look around and we're like, we want this tall, dark, handsome, tanned man with a six-pack abs, and and that's just not always the reality.
Right.
So just don't put yourself out there because you're so desperate, because people come across as desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come across as desperate, you're not going to find what you're looking for either.
Well, I can tell you, I've been desperate, and now I'm not. And I take my time, and I get talked about a lot for being single for so long, but I'm okay with that. And because right now I'm coming into the best version of myself for this season, if that makes sense.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm okay with that. And
and that's an awesome thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like once you get here, like you're on your way to hopefully a really healthy relationship, just knowing who I am. And I didn't know that for a long time. So, Amanda, you give me hope. I thank you for talking to me. And Amanda's in North Carolina, but you have tell people what you have and how to follow you and what you have going on, just in case someone in North Carolina watches.
So my Instagram is probably the best way, and it's just Amanda BH29. So that's Amanda B as in Bravo, H as in Harry 29. Cool. And that's probably the easiest.
But you can help with some what did I ask you for? Some meal plans. Prep.
Yes. So and you can actually request them on there and stuff too. I think underneath the website link or whatever, there's a link there to request personal training and nutrition guidance and stuff like that. So you'll be able to find it there.
Well, cool. Well, thank you, Amanda.
And thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. We will talk soon because I need to get down there. And but I appreciate you for doing this for me.
Oh, for sure. I thought it was a blast. I loved it.
Thank you so much. And we will talk soon.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Bye.
Bye.